are now listening to Ricky and Lolo's Couples Therapy, brought to you by the Lolo Knows Radio Network. Keeping a healthy perspective is necessary in these tough times we live in. Hello and welcome to another hour, Ricky Lolo's Couples Therapy. I'm actually looking at a picture right now that I did because I'm learning how to do a little bit more photo editing and cutouts for pictures I've always wanted. Photoshop, however, is a lot. Apps, however, certain apps are making it quite easier. Although I could see why you could get really more detailed. I think I think I could use a stylus for my phone.
But it's also just kind of whatever as far down the hole as you want to go. It'll let you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The phone thing will get you through if you just want to do something quick. But if you really want to do it, then you got to start digging into stuff. But I mean, it's still a nice way to learn what the different tools do and what the different symbols mean and stuff like that without having to have an expensive program or whatever. So
yeah,
it's definitely.
I'm having fun with a lot of these photo apps that are on here. I mean, there's so many, and there's kind of Pixar is one of my favorites that I use.
I mess with some of them just for quick stuff, but my problem with them is the pixel density's seems off on them when you try to do text and stuff.
Right.
But overall, like I said, if you just want to slap some filters on a photo, there's no shortage of ways to do it.
I had a pretty nice day today. Went down to Eartha Vision, which is in Akron, and got to Eartha had she had a little present for me. She had a baby orchid that is just at the growth stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of intimidated me at first because, it's not in full bloom yet, but it's getting ready to. But I want to take it there to a full bloom stage. This is going to be really interesting because I have another one that I've had for over a year and a half now that's starting to rebloom as well. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how that's going to go for me.
Keep doing what you're doing, I guess.
I know. I kind of want a little bit of a green thumb only because I feel like connecting to, plants is essential and important.
Right.
And they're an energy just like we are.
I just forget, it doesn't move, it doesn't bark, so I forget about it. I've had plants before. I mean, I take care of the plants out on the patio, so I'll probably get stuff now that it fucking quit snowing.
Well, I had just a couple of questions that I posted to some folks today, to the audience. And one is, if you're unhappy in your life, what can you do to change it? Or what do you think will make you more fulfilled? If you are happy, what advice can you give others? I got about 7 replies on this post. I'm sure a lot of people don't really want to admit when they are unhappy, but a lot of people are willing to also give advice that probably had to get through some of their unhappy times to get to their happy. You said that you focus on the now and that you focus on recent victories. Happiness is a choice, and there will always be some sort of problem. It's up to us to figure out whether or not those small problems deserve our attention.
Yeah. I don't know. I think whatever you look for, you'll find. And I think it's also really easy to kind of let your imagination run wild. If one thing goes wrong, then before you know it, everything's wrong and everyone sucks and the whole world's terrible and everyone's out to get me. And if you let your brain go there, it could be something stupid like you were talking to someone, but they kind of were acting weird, or at least you felt like they were acting weird. And then you internalize that and go, well, maybe that person doesn't like me, or maybe they're mad at me, and then you start thinking of every interaction that you've ever had with that person ever, trying to overanalyze everything.
When they could very well
maybe they're just having a bad day.
They're just having a bad day and they're just going
not trying to
something.
fuck with you.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, I really, over the last, like, year or two, have really worked on focusing on what is. What can I prove? What do I know? What is real? Because if you start what-ifing yourself, you're fucked. Mm-hmm. You can't know. You can't. It's physically impossible to know what would have happened if you would have did something differently. Right. So if you start going that way, you're fucked. Because you're just going to spiral out of control. You can start over and try again.
Do you think a lot of people live by regrets?
Well, I don't even know if it's necessarily...
Are there what ifs?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's necessarily regret. But, I mean, you could have succeeded and still what-ifed yourself. I mean, you could have said... Let's say someone starts a business and they end up being a millionaire. Well, they could what-if themselves into saying, well, if I would have did this or that, I could be a billionaire. So, I mean, it's not even a matter of failure or success. It's just a thought process that you have to break. I mean, you know, you get in a car accident. What if I would have left 5 minutes later? Or what if I would have left 5 minutes earlier? Well, you don't know. If you would have left 5 minutes earlier, maybe you would have got hit by a semi-truck instead of a Ford Focus.
Right.
I don't fucking know.
Right.
No one knows. So you just have to accept what is and operate off of facts. And if you think someone's being weird or you don't like the way something's going, then just ask. I think people are really afraid that they might be right. Mm-hmm. Like, if you think someone's mad at you or you think someone is being shitty to you or whatever, people are afraid to ask because what if that person is mad at you? And then you got to deal with that. But I think that kind of comes back to past conversations of, is it better to deal with a small problem now or a big problem later? Right.
Our friend Tony commented too on this same thread, and he said, like Ricky said, for one, I recently went through some tough times, but bounced back later better than before. I mainly remained focused on enjoying the little things in life, and getting a new circle of positive, non-toxic friends helped a lot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, not being surrounded by crazy can go a long way to help your fucking mental state. I mean...
And you shouldn't feel guilty about... And that's probably one thing that I've battled for a while. You know, I've cared about some people, but, you know, some people are, you know, and there's a few people that I just can't connect to. We're just not there anymore because they're, you know, you know, it's just...
I can care about everybody, but I don't have to take it personally. Like, hey, I wish you the best. At the same time, I don't give a fuck. I mean, that's what I'm saying,
but right, but that's the whole thing. I do care. I do care what happens with people, but I don't necessarily need to. If I feel that you're not doing, you know, like you're going down a shitter and you're doing this to yourself.
I just think that we live in this weird age too with like social media and stuff. Like, are those people really your friends?
Right. I've become more self-aware on stuff that's going on around me.
Right, but I'm just saying you're not you, but you. Like,
right.
The you.
Right.
People spread themselves too thin. Like, you know, someone will get pissed off about a social media interaction or something. Well, it's like, is that even a real thing? Like, it's probably not. Like, I have lots of acquaintances and lots of friends, but I only have, like, a core group of friends. Like, you know, 10, 20 people. That's it.
Yeah.
Because how the fuck could you possibly...
Right.
You know, have meaningful relationships with more people than that? It's strenuous to even have 5 close friends or 10 close friends or 20 close friends. And I think that it runs extra deep doing what we do. You know, even things like this show or whatever, but more so focused on, like, the going out. Mm-hmm. Like, we're in this weird scene where we do party and we are out and we are faces and we are part of a company and you do have your brand and you do have your business, where it's like, those aren't friends. Those are nice people. Those are people that we get along with. Those are people that are cool, you know, like, but they're not going to come help you move. They're not going to fucking come pick you up at the airport. Like, they're just people that you see out. And I think a lot of people confuse those things for friendships. And I'm not shitting on anybody out there either. If I'm nice to you, I'm nice to you. If I'm not, fuck you,
Right.
whatever. But just, you know, it's everybody. And it's not just me and you, or it's not just them, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just, with social media, everybody's become so intertwined in everybody's life that you feel like you're friends with these people. And you're not.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let me read a couple more of these before even a comment. Bryce Murphy from Hawaii said, stay focused on only the things you have control over. Give 100%. Put your hand out. Meet any and everything halfway. At the end of the day, it's easy to sleep when you have given your all. Rick Sickman says, if a person is unhappy, they must look within. Ask the question why they are unhappy. It could be a job, or it could be bad energy, or they could just be looking at things in the wrong perspective. People need to value themselves and understand that their soul is unique and has a different quest than any other.
I think it's almost always the last one. It's always your perspective. Happiness is a choice.
Right.
Bottom line.
I love this reply, though, from Doug Meyer. He said, do the small things you know you can do, then move on to bigger. See your enemies as the Buddha in disguise, challenging your heart. See your obstacles as a training course. Faith in yourself is a measure of your potential. Build it. I love the fact when he said, see your enemies as the Buddha in disguise.
I think that, I mean, even to go one step further
I love
back,
that.
Incremental steps. People often get overwhelmed with their goal, whatever their goal is. Instead of breaking that goal down into a series of steps, or even just taking a pause and analyzing the steps that you've already accomplished. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to win the Super Bowl. Well, to win the Super Bowl, you first have to learn to throw the football, and you have to learn how to run, and you play peewee football, and you play high school football, and you play college football, and you make the team. And so there's all these little, and there's training every day. Are you getting stronger? Are you breaking your lifting records? Are you eating right? You know, all these little goals, even minute to minute, that you're accomplishing. And sometimes I think it's nice to just stop and go, well, I did get a lot done today.
Yeah.
I
I totally have days like that.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I've worked really hard on, is just not getting caught up in my big goal, because that's forever away. And you might not even ever get there, but even if you get 75% of that goal, you know, you're probably gaining some success. You're making new connections. You're making money, whatever it is.
Right.
So I think a lot of people often get caught up in the end game.
Neil Hamilton chimed in and he said, you have the power to make it whatever you want to be. And then I was just with Ashley Marie tonight. I haven't seen her in a while. She says, if you're not happy in your life, you have the power to change it. People need to stop blaming other people for their problems.
Well, and that's true to an extent, but some people just aren't dealt a very good hand. And yeah, I guess you can overcome and rah, 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 all that crap, but some people just aren't afforded the opportunities that other people are, and that doesn't mean that they can't. But if the odds are stacked against you, you know, I don't blame people that... I mean, if you're chronically blaming people, or if you're some, like, middle-class white dude bitching about your opportunities, okay, yeah, fuck you. But if you're some poor inner-city black kid bitching about a lack of opportunities, you might actually have a lack of opportunities.
Right.
So, I mean, it also is dependent on your situation. Or if you're some... And not to go against black people or with black people, I don't know how you look at that, but if you're some poor trailer trash kid in West Virginia that fucking wants to do whatever, you might have a hard road to toe. So I think there are, you know, there is differences in where you come from, and that definitely does make a difference. And it's not to say that the odds are insurmountable. It's not to say that you can't, but statistically... you might not.
Right. Now, here's the other question that I asked the audience. What are some things you keep in perspective when things get tough? Now, we had many replies on this one. And, you know, I'm just going to read a short few. our friend Eric Mountford, who went through something recently and last year and everything, even he said, just know that the bigger the defeat just sets you up for an even greater victory. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
I think that, not to shit on Eric, I love Eric, but that's not necessarily true. Sometimes more bad shit's going to happen to you, and even worse bad shit. Like, that's a nice way to rest your head at night and say, oh, well, crap happened to me today, so good stuff's going to happen to me tomorrow. No, sometimes life just keeps kicking you in the dick. So be prepared for that, too. Well, it's got to get better. It can't get worse. No, it can get worse. It can always get worse. That's what keeps me in perspective.
I think that's what he kind of meant, though. Just know that the bigger the defeat just sets you up for an even greater victory if you don't give up. Maybe he should have added that at the end.
I mean, he can say whatever he wants and believe whatever he wants. That's fine. I'm just saying, personally, life's not fair. There's no rule book. So there's no, well, A and B happened to me, so I'll get C down the road. You might work your ass off your whole life and never get shit. And you got to be okay with that.
Right. Kevin Kennedy said that my own life has been much tougher.
Well, I think that there's always someone that's what kind of keeps me grounded, is I know there's people that my worst day is infinitely better than 80% of the world's best day. Like, there's people that don't have food. There's people that live in the middle of the fucking desert. Like,
There's
I got no problems, man. Like, no real problems.
Our new photographer, Josh Lamb, for Unplanned, he had said, I try my best to remember this current BS won't last forever. I've made it through worse. Others are a lot more misfortunate than I'm currently. Keep myself in check as much as possible. Dwelling in shit doesn't get you out of it any faster. So I tell myself to seek a solution and work like hell to get through.
I think that's probably the best one of the bunch, because there's no time limit for bad stuff. You could have a bad week, you could have a bad month, you could have a bad year. But if you tell yourself at some point it's going to end, I think that's a healthy perspective. And just, having a healthy perspective. If you go out there and say, today's my day. It might not be, but I think it's healthy to go out there and say it will be.
Right. I like Khalil's. Khalil had a humbling thought. He said, remembering that I'm volunteering my time at the local food bank, there used to be a time when I was a recipient and not a volunteer.
Well, and that goes back to the, kind of what I just said. There's always someone worse than you. And I mean, realistically, living where we live, we're already, far better off than most of the world, let alone people that live around us. So I think that just kind of is part of it.
Matt Patry says, find a reason to laugh every goddamn day, then work hard. That's it. Pretty easy after that.
Yeah, dude. I
love that.
And Matt practices what he preaches too,
He sure does.
He posts goofy shit online and fucking works 100 hours a week. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Ashley Zor said, I'm sober and free from the shit in my past. I'm alive and healthy. I can't live in the past or the future. All I got is right now.
And that's absolutely true. You can make all the plans you want. It don't mean shit.
Right.
And worrying about what you did do don't mean shit. I wake up every morning and basically just kind of mentally tell myself, everything you've done up to this point means fucking nothing. Yesterday don't mean shit, and you ain't done shit today. So you better get right and get the fuck out there and do what you gotta do.
Christy Russell says, I always try to think, will this matter in 5 years? If not, don't sweat it. If so, you need to use it as a lesson. Learn from it and go through the necessary emotions.
Sure. I mean, it's gauging or trying to gauge the importance of what you're dealing with or going through. People get caught up to kind of come back around. We were talking about friends, or if someone's being weird to you or something.
Right.
Chances are you're probably not going to fucking talk to that person in 5 years anyway.
Right.
I mean, so don't get too worked up over shit.
Will Munoz said, wine. Love that one. Alan Gleason said that truly this too shall pass, and it always does.
Right, and I think that kind of goes back to what Josh said, There's no time limit for bad things happening, but it's gonna stop eventually, whatever it is. It's either gonna stop or you're gonna die. So, whatever. There's always an end.
Erica Kelly said, recalling all the other tough, uncertain times previous to now that always ended up okay. Hindsight is 2020. I'm not dead yet and woke up another day. Made the choice to live. A far cry for the better from being suicidally depressed sporadically for 3 years.
Yeah, and again, obviously there are people that have real problems and need medication and whatever, but being happy is a choice, man.
Yeah.
Being bummed out's a choice. It's all your perspective and how you kind of choose to face the day and go about your life.
I like that Amy Marie Lockney came, she kind of said hypnosis on YouTube, yoga. She said, actually, yoga's the answer. I wish I would have found it at a much younger age. Life is not easier. Age and wisdom of what not to do may make it a little easier. But with yoga, I have learned to separate a little bit of when I feel, for a lack of better words, like I'm going bananas or batshit crazy. What's neat to me is that some of my yogi friends feel the same way. We actually had a conversation, aha moment, when we came to the realization that we all thought the same thoughts on the issue. And side note, I wonder what the origin of batshit crazy is.
Yeah, interesting.
Right? And Sherry D says, always be grateful for what you have. Also believe that what you want has already been granted to you. 2 words are standing between you and freedom. Thank you, in capitals that she put that.
Yeah, I think, or thank yourself,
Right.
You are where you are because of you, for better or worse. Obviously, external forces are at play, but ultimately, you're kind of the master of your own domain.
Shalimar Brown said that I must be going against the natural universal order, so I need to stop forcing what I want and wait for what I need to appear. And then Whitney Slade said, my awareness of perspective, #truth. I really want to thank everybody who's been commenting on these posts and stuff. I really like putting out questions for people to kind of have a conversation together, and especially something that I think that people need to be reminded of. I know I need to be reminded of it, but it's really nice to have others that, can shed some light, even if they're going through something similar.
I mean, yeah, I'm weird. I don't know. I don't want to fucking hear about someone else's problems. Like, well, no, I don't want the, like, oh, well, I did this, so this is, don't try to fucking relate to me. My problems are my problems, not yours. I get that, but everybody's got to find their own way and what works for them. I don't know. I treat life kind of the same way as I treat music. I don't want to listen to your music because I don't want to make your music. And I don't want to hear about your life because I don't want to make your life. Like, I'm making my own life.
Why do you think you'd be easily influenced?
Well, everyone is. It's how the mind works, whether you know it or not. I mean, look at advertising on TV or anything. Your brain's programmed to absorb things.
Yeah.
So whatever you're beat over the head with, or whatever the last thought that enters your mind is, or whatever the last thing you hear is statistically what your brain's going to gravitate towards. It's neurobiology. It's just the way we're programmed to work. So I kind of really try to isolate myself from those kinds of things just to avoid. I don't want to duplicate anyone else's process.
The royal family now has a new prince.
Whatever.
And there were some opinions about that, about people who, don't care about the royal family and don't,
I think they don't.
And then
even care about the royal family.
I think that they're so at this point just.
Well, like, no, the two kids, like the two like dudes my age, they're both kind of like, fuck it, whatever.
Harry and William.
Yeah, they're both like, whatever.
I'm excited though. I'm excited about. I don't know why we all get so fixated on that.
We don't.
But a lot of people do. I mean, I'm going to wake up.
We're the last.
I'm going to wake up on May 19th and I'm going to watch that wedding.
You're the tail end of the last generation that gives a shit about that.
Yeah.
Like,
I watched their mother and father get married.
Our age and
I
younger.
watched William and Kate get married. And now it's like I'm getting ready to watch
our age and
Harry
younger going forward.
and Meghan get married.
And like I said, these people don't even care. Like, they interview him and they're like, whatever. Like, they interviewed Harry, I saw, and they're like, how do you feel about your brother having another kid? That puts you 5th in line to the throne and puts you one step back further. He's like, good.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. He said good and walked away. These people, they don't give a shit about this. They know it's just outdated nonsense. They're just out there doing their thing. So
well, I mean, I think Queen Elizabeth was really truly the real last queen.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
She really is. She really held up the monarchy at that time during the whole World War.
It's all just
through all that time.
Now
I mean,
it's
that's
all
a long
just
time.
Whatever, and they realize that. They realize that they don't really serve a purpose, so they just go to their fundraisers and play golf and fucking do their thing, and that's what they do. So whatever. But at least they're self-aware. At least they're not like walking around with like crowns on or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least they're cool about it. They're like, yeah, this is kind of bullshit. We're just gonna enjoy it. So.
I think you would enjoy it.
Oh, I'd be fucking hilarious. I'd be ridiculous. We've already had this conversation.
What?
I could never have a lot of money.
Why?
And I don't mean like a lot. I mean like a lot of money. Like, no, I'd be fucking ridiculous. If I could do whatever I wanted all the time, no. No.
Why? You don't think you'll have no self-control?
It's not even self-control. I would just be stupid. Like,
but why?
Because you can do whatever you want.
But you have a choice.
And my choice is to do whatever I want.
So what's the most ridiculous thing that you?
I don't know, dude. I'd like have all my friends over and we'd buy helicopters or something. Like, what do you want to do today? I don't know. Let's go get helicopters and learn how to fly them. That'd be fucking rad. And we'll go fly our helicopter. We'll have helicopter races around my fucking castle. Like,
oh my god! He said helicopter races around my castle.
Why wouldn't you have helicopter races around your castle? What are we doing today? I don't know. We're gonna go buy Lamborghinis and crash them into each other because I have all the fucking
William
money.
and Harry ain't doing that.
They're probably doing some stupid stuff.
You think so?
They live in castles and shit, dude. That's ridiculous.
They're not
That's
buying
ridiculous.
Lamborghinis.
How do you know?
Racing
How do you know?
Running them off cliffs.
How do you know what they do?
They're being followed by the paparazzi.
They live in castles.
I know they live in castles.
That's ridiculous in and of itself.
Why?
It's a fucking castle.
So?
That's ridiculous.
Why is it ridiculous?
2018. We don't need castles anymore. No one's raiding your land. You don't need a fucking castle.
Do you think we all need to be on equilibrium?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that hard work should still be rewarded, but I definitely lean more to like a somewhat socialist philosophy. I don't think the people at the bottom should be as far down as they are, and I certainly don't think that the people at the top should be as far up as they are. I think there can be some discrepancy between the two, and I think that there can be some latitude in there. I don't think everyone needs to have the exact same thing, but I mean, the people at the top are out of control, and the people at the bottom are just getting fucked. So, you know, and the guys in the middle are slowly becoming the guys at the bottom. So it's not a perfect system. I know that.
Right.
So.
I mean, this could be, that's for another day, I guess, another topic.
Well, no, I mean, it's just, it's one of those things, but, I mean, there's a lot of rich people out there doing really good things, and there's a lot of fucking rich people out there that are scumbags. So, it's not necessarily fair, but I guess no one ever said it was supposed to be. Right.
Terry said to always count your blessings, turn your struggles into strength.
Yeah, I mean, learn from your mistakes, learn from what's going on around you.
Andre Cato says someone wishes they could be here. Nothing gold can stay and trouble don't last always.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of time will tend to fix things, you know. You're either going to get through it or you're going to die. So either way, it's over.
You know what? That's the other thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think that, don't you feel like when people get into like their 20s and their 30s, I think that there's like this anxiety, that this clock that just kind of rushes over you when you don't feel like you're anywhere near where you want to be, or when you thought that you would be. And then sometimes even with some people, like you said, I think a lot of people start thinking about, and especially around that time, you start seeing deaths happen around you, and things happen, and I think a lot of people don't recover from what's going on, and especially with death. Death is a big one. And you know what I went through last year when my mom died. It's
solely, that mindset is new because of our society, and going back to what you were just talking about and what I was just talking to about the bottom and the top. Back in the 50s and 60s and even kind of into the 70s, the gap between the top and the bottom was a lot smaller. You could get out of high school, you could drop out of high school and just go get a job. Mm-hmm. And you could buy a house and a car and have a wife and 2 kids, and you were fucking set.
Right.
Now, you can go to college, get a fucking master's degree, get out, not make shit, and be struggling just to get by.
Yeah, I just talking to a girl who just graduated case last week, and she's stressing already about whether or not she's going to be able to find a job.
And that's a new thing. You were talking about, people freaking out or people stressing. That's a relatively new thing. That's a Generation X thing. That's only been around for 30 or 40 years and is more prevalent now so than it's ever been. And that goes back to just the economic structure and where we're at as a society. And it may even be a uniquely American thing. I'm sure it translates to other parts of the world to some degree, but, in a lot of parts of the world, you don't have to worry about medical bills, or you don't have to worry about student loans, or, there's things that are there's programs in place that either take care of or help take care of those things. So even those kinds of stresses aren't there.
Do you think eventually we'll move this country there? To that point where we're being more...
Well, it'll have to happen.
Being more helpful? Do you think that even this new movement of kids that are going to vote...
It'll have to happen eventually, just because of the fact that eventually automation will take over everything and people will need some sort of wage just handed to them because there will be no jobs. We won't have to work. Everything will be online. Drones will deliver the shit to you. Cars will drive themselves. Cars will be electric. We won't need gas stations. We won't need people in fucking gas stations because gas stations won't exist. Fucking everything will be automated. Fast food will cook itself. There might be one person there to make sure the machines don't fuck up and burn the place down or whatever. So people can fight socialism all they want and fight a wage or whatever. It's going to happen. And whether it's in 50 years or 100 years or 200 years, or it won't happen and people will literally be dying in the streets and the poor people will rise up and there will be a huge civil war and people will just wipe each other out. Those are the only 2 possible outcomes. Either the top's going to have to fucking ease up and come off some of their money, or the bottom going to come take it. Because people are only going to put up with so much shit for so fucking long. And shit's already pretty tense out there. And it ain't even no problems yet. We don't even have any food shortages or droughts or fucking any real crazy shit yet.
That's when I think that all of us, even just as a community, can come together more and really help each other.
Right, but the people at the top have to fucking be willing to help too.
Right.
And they're not. Because they're worried about counting money. You can't breathe money. Can't eat money.
But I don't believe that that's a vast majority of them.
It is. Look around. Or we wouldn't even be in the situations that we're already in. Your boss pays you as little as he can. I have a great boss, and he pays me the bare fucking minimum that he can pay me to keep me there. Period. Mm-hmm. You're getting fucked. If you work for someone, you're getting fucked. Straight across the board. Top to bottom, left to right, every goddamn day that you wake up, you're getting fucked.
So do you think we're all moving towards...
No, you're getting fucked.
No, I'm saying to be more independent and entrepreneurial.
No, not everyone can own a business.
Right.
Everybody got to work, and not everybody get to be the boss.
Right.
Just, sorry. There's bosses and there's not bosses. And there's always going to be more not bosses than bosses. Just how it works. Not everybody gets to drive the bus. There's one driver's seat and 50 fucking seats behind them. Sorry. Life's not fair.
So I'm saying with all those people that you declare there won't be any jobs and we'll be getting some sort of some minimum wage.
Well, no, I'm talking about now we get the minimum. Your boss pays you as little as he can. Period. Everybody that has a job, you don't get 1 cent more than they have to give you to keep you in the door. I don't give a shit what you do. I don't care if you're a heart surgeon or a fucking toilet scrubber. You get the bare minimum that they can give you to keep you there. So if we go to some sort of living wage or handout system or food stamps or what the fuck ever for everybody to live, or if we don't go to that, people are just going to go take shit. I mean, those are the only two options. No one's going to go willingly die in the street.
But they're trying to take away those welfare systems.
Those aren't welfare systems. Well, I mean, some of the welfare shit, but I'm talking about, that case in point. You're saying, I like to think people are good. No, people are fucking assholes. Look around. The people in charge, it ain't even bad yet, and they're already trying to take shit away from us. What are you going to do when it gets real bad? You think they're going to go, hey, here, have some fucking money? No. They're going to go, fuck you, poor people. Fuck off. And all the poor people are going to go, well, there's more of us, so fuck you. It's coming. I don't know when, but it's coming.
What do you think we need to prepare ourselves for? I mean, how do you think we should prepare for something like that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Have a week's worth of food in your house. Maybe some fresh water. Lock your door. Kiss your ass goodbye. I don't know.
What?
Fucking dude. When shit's never been bad here. Wait till you see what happens when people are hungry. They ain't gonna give a fuck whether it's their neighbor, whether you're white, black, Chinese, Japanese, fucking American, Muslim, whatever. Yeah. They're gonna go, you have food. I don't have food. I'm taking your food.
And that's why we need to take care of our neighbors.
Fuck your neighbors. They're going to be the ones that come take your fucking shit.
But they won't if you offer it to them. And if you try...
I would beat my neighbor's head with a rock if it was the difference between me starving to death or not. And so would everybody else. And anybody that says they wouldn't is a fucking liar.
What I'm saying is, if we were all to get together as a community...
Yeah.
And help take care of each other, then that won't happen.
But I'm not talking about when shit goes to shit. I'm talking about when shit really goes to shit. I'm not talking about, old Mrs. Jenkins' Social Security got cut, so we take her food on Wednesdays. No, I'm talking about there is no fucking food. Shit's fucked. There ain't been no food, and there ain't gonna be no food. And the power's been out, and it's hot as shit, and the government don't give a fuck. I'm talking about real problems, right. Not this idealized version of, things are kind of hard right now. No, it ain't never been bad here. Mm-hmm. And it's about to get bad here. The weather's fucked. There's floods, hurricanes, fires, mudslides, all kinds of shit, which means less land, which means more people in less space. What pisses people off more than anything? Other people. So pack them in tight. Less fertile land, more fucking outbreaks of E. coli and all kinds of other bullshit.
Yeah, that's a major issue. I mean, that just... Why
less clean water, less water, less crops, fucking more diseases. I hate to be all doom and gloom, people, but shit's about to get kind of weird.
So what do we do about it?
Wipe out about half of us. For starters. It's too many fucking people. Too many people in not enough space doing too much damage. How's that sound?
You really believe that?
We need a plague. A good one. Sweeping across the land. Taking people out as it goes.
Well, that's it.
But it's nature. If there's too many deer, what happens to the deer? Oh, well, there's not enough food for the deer, so what happens? A bunch of them fucking die. And then in a few years, oh, everybody's happy. All the little happy deers are back to normal, and the population stabilizes and whatever. What happens if there's too many birds? Well, there's not enough fucking food for the birds, so a bunch of fucking birds die. We're not the exception to the rules.
Right.
Everybody likes to think, oh, well, we're humans and we're intelligent. Well, yeah, we can overcome a lot of shit, but we're not invincible. And since people that are in charge and can do things about this stuff refuse to acknowledge it, things are not good. Now, there are people out there that do a lot of really good things, and you have your Elon Musks of the world that are trying to do things, and your Jeff Bezoses and fucking your Bill Gateses, and there's people out there that are at least trying to do some things and help. Maybe they'll look. I'm not saying we're going out, but I'm saying if we don't get our act together, shit could get bad. So people better start fucking acting right and fucking getting on the right path. That's all I'm saying. It don't have to be that way, but it could very easily be that way.
Well, I didn't want this to be a long, drawn-out show. So I really appreciate those talking points that you brought. I think they're very important, and I think we should be more aware about what's going on around us, and not to take any of this stuff too lightly, but at the same time...
Yeah, don't let it keep you up at night. Like I said, I don't mean to be all doom and gloom. I'm just saying if you let me go down that road, I'll tell you a story.
Scary. It was pretty scary.
It should be. But,
the way you brought it up, it is pretty scary.
But people should be scared, but know that it doesn't have to be that way. I feel that it's necessary to scare people. If you go, well, things might get bad. Well, that's not hitting it home. Mm-hmm. No one gives a shit about anything until it affects them directly.
Mm-hmm. True.
So people better start realizing that it ain't... Look, I like a good zombie movie as much as anybody. It ain't gonna be zombies. It probably ain't gonna be nuclear bombs. It's gonna be lack of fucking food.
That's something when we usually have such an abundance all around us.
Yeah. But as land masses shrink and tides rise and the weather gets more and more progressively fucked up, it's going to be harder to grow and harder to get and harder to transport.
Right.
So.
Oh, well. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed show this evening. Follow loloknows.com, all things Lolo Knows, and Unplanned Music.
I'm out there on all sorts of shit, so find me.
Yes, Ricky Spanish, SoundCloud, and everything else. And thank you so much for listening, everybody. And good night.
Later.